Sports Illustrated model Emily Ratajkowski has endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. A beautiful young millennial and an avowed feminist, she seeks to show the world why a 78-year-old man with deteriorating health is the best thing there is for the American voters. But does Miss Ratajkowski, a successful model with a 7-figure net worth, really understand and want what it is Bernie advocates? Or is her pretty face meant to compensate for the bankruptcy of Bernie's ideas and his own hypocrisy when it comes to the ownership of wealth? Let's find out.
Hi, I'm Emily Ratajkowski, and I'm endorsing Bernie Sanders for president.
Translation: I'm an insanely hot swimsuit model, so listen to your dick and vote for who I say. According to Vice, which Bernie undoubtedly takes seriously, his campaign receives far more support from young women than it does from young men. So I wonder why he's bringing Miss Ratajkowski aboard. I get it, Bernie. Beautiful women are a great marketing tool, but it doesn't change the fact that your policies have been tried, and they fail big time.
I'm 28. I'm a millennial, a true millennial. You know, I think one of the things that's so interesting about young people supporting Bernie Sanders is that he's not like a young, sexy candidate.
Well, that certainly is an understatement. Bernie is 78 years old and has already had to cancel campaign events after suffering a heart attack. But then I suppose if a sexy millennial like you endorses him, that must mean that what really makes him appealing is his political ideology and how superior it is, right? Bernie's promise to pay off all your debts and give you free college and give you free healthcare and give you everything else you could ever want, all for free. It's not hard to figure out why you garner support when you just tell them the kinds of things they want to hear. Personally, I'd say the reason that Bernie appeals so much to young people is that my generation, for the most part, is completely ignorant of basic economics and completely ignorant of history. But maybe you have a different idea. Why is it that people support Bernie, Miss Ratajkowski? Why is he the best option for the American voter?
What he says speaks so much to what people want that sort of who he is, it's so much beyond just one man. Bernie is extremely genuine. He's consistent.
Oh, really? Is he consistent, Miss Ratajkowski? Does he practice what he preaches? According to the book We Are Gods by Kate DeLoz, Bernie was kicked out of a socialist commune in 1971 because he spent too much time talking politics and not enough time carrying his weight working in the commune. Bernie criticizes men like Jeff Bezos for having too much money, all the while ignoring his own 7-figure net worth, which includes 3 homes. If Bernie believes so much in forcing the wealthy to pay for other people's bad decisions, why does he continue to hang on to his own wealth? Over the past few years, he's donated less than 1% of his earnings on the low end per year, and just over 3% on the higher end. That's the thing about socialist elites. They all constantly lecture other people about how immoral it is for the rich to hoard wealth, all the while living lavish lifestyles not unlike those of the people they criticize. Bernie used to criticize the millionaires and billionaires. But now that it's come out that he is himself a millionaire, it's just the billionaires like Jeff Bezos. By the way, Miss Ratajkowski, I see that your net worth is estimated to be approximately $6 million. How many people's student loans and medical bills have you paid off? Do you really believe in Bernie's vision?
He's powerful, not because of who he is as one person, but because of the way that he invigorates people and excites them and brings together this movement. So when Bernie sort of popped up on the radar as this guy who had been arrested in the 60s and had been consistent in his policies.
Yes, in his history, Bernie has endorsed the USSR, Cuba, Venezuela, and just about every other socialist state that has completely crashed and burned. Should his consistency be praised as a good thing? Or an example of the insanity that is trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results?
Not only has he always advocated for healthcare, he's also always been on the right side as far as civil and humanitarian issues.
Are you sure about that, Miss Ratajkowski? Bernie Sanders called the Marxist revolution in Nicaragua a heroic revolution, despite the fact that the Marxist Nicaraguan government committed some of the most vile human rights abuses of the 20th century. In fact, according to a former Nicaraguan intelligence officer, some 5,000 Nicaraguans were slaughtered per month by the new communist government after it took over. But yeah, Bernie's always been on the right side of civil and human rights issues.
Who is going to be speaking out for people who need someone to speak out for them?
It just was like, this is our man.
The death tolls coming out of the Soviet Union and other regimes that it helped create well exceed 100 million individuals. Bernie avidly supported those regimes while they existed. But yeah, he's our man.
Women in this country have so much to lose as far as healthcare.
Oh, shut up! Women in the United States have the highest breast cancer survival rate in the world. And if you'd like to learn how universal healthcare systems work out for women-specific issues, like maternity, try reading up on the developing scandal coming out of the UK, where it's been revealed that dozens of mothers and infants have lost their lives due to substandard care by the NHS, only to have it covered up to save face. However, I'm guessing that what you're talking about when you say women's health is the legalized killing of unborn children through abortion. Am I right?
This is a potential moment in the Supreme Court where Roe v. Wade could be overturned. So whoever's going to be our next Supreme Court justice will be up to the next president in the next 4 years. So it's very important to have someone who advocates for women's rights in a position of power.
Yes, it's important to have someone that advocates that women be allowed to murder their unborn children holding power. But wait. I thought that men don't have a right to have a stance on abortion because they can't get pregnant. And further, as a feminist, how is it that you support men holding office at all? Give me a break.
Too many women have fought for too many years to make sure that women control their bodies, not the government. We're not going back.
And no one is arguing that women shouldn't be able to control their own bodies. The question is whether or not they should be able to dismember or poison the bodies of their unborn children.
Bernie has always been very clear about how he advocates for women's health care, which is hugely important to me.
Then why don't we talk about breast cancer, prenatal care, or neonatal care for premature infants, and what socialized medicine does to all of the above? Why is it that despite all the problems that really do exist with female-related healthcare, somehow the only women's health issue that ever matters is maintaining a woman's right to have an abortion? If dozens of women and infants die as a result of malpractice under a universal healthcare system like Britain's NHS, that's no biggie. At least it's universal, and at least women have the right to an abortion.
I understand why sometimes it doesn't feel appealing to vote. And I think that's really important to talk about because a lot of people are like, how could people not vote? What's wrong with them? And I think it's, comes down to the fact that there aren't often candidates that represent the change that you want to see. They don't represent what you want for yourself. So it feels so distant and sort of unimportant.
Or maybe it's because history shows that no matter who you elect, no matter what party they represent, no matter what they promise, politicians always act in their own interests, not the interests of the people who elected them. Voting has never changed the fact that all politicians ultimately end up increasing spending and taking away more freedoms through increased state intervention. Even the leftist publication Left Voice has documented that Bernie has voted in favor of the bulk of US military interventions since the 1980s. So much for selling himself as the anti-war candidate. Do you really think he's going to be the first candidate in history who actually does what they promised to do?
That's not the case in this election. There's so much at stake here, and getting out to vote, your one vote makes a change. We will regret it forever if we don't take this opportunity to join this movement.
I don't blame Bernie Sanders for wanting beautiful women to assist him in the marketing of ideas. Right or wrong, it will get him more attention from young male voters. But let's close by considering the 3 things on Miss Ratajkowski's shirt at the beginning of this video. College for all, Medicare for all, and jobs for all. Guaranteeing college for all only cheapens the value of a college degree, effectively making it the new high school diploma. Medicine is a scarce resource, and trying to guarantee it only guarantees rationing and decreased quality. Jobs exist not for their own sake, but for the sake of benefiting other members of the population through voluntary exchange. As I explained in my video, Bernie's Free and Guaranteed Plan, Bernie's ideas cannot circumvent the basic laws of supply and demand that have caused them to fail every time they've been tried. I pray that Miss Ratajkowski comes to realize that the evil capitalism that Bernie so vocally opposes is in fact what made her and Bernie millionaires, and what has made the United States more prosperous than every failed state that Bernie has endorsed throughout his lifetime. But she probably won't. And that is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Everyone, please take a moment to subscribe to my 2 cents on the BitTubers and BitChute platforms. YouTube has shown that it is no longer a viable platform for independent content creators, and we need to build a presence elsewhere before the inevitable censorship comes. The links to both profiles are available in the BitTubers tab on my website, my2centsvideos.com. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the bell to receive notifications so that you never miss an upload. And if you're a fan of my channel, please consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Bitbacker, or Patreon to receive special rewards. All links can be found in the About section of my website, my2centsvideos.com.